Boxing truth here. Sasha Povetkin is next in line in WBA rankings. #1 contender for Joshua's WBA strap. And he could actually end up fighting Anthony Joshua before Deontay Wilder does. Now, Joshua has recently stated in an interview that he wants Deontay Wilder next in unification bout once he gets past Joseph Parker, which he's heavily favored to do. I'm not really hyped about that fight. To me, it's a showcase unification. Joshua is just he's improved considerably since his pro debut compared to Joseph Parker. All you have to do to figure this fight out is look at their past performances. Look how Parker has been complete trash in his past few performances, struggling with even his sparring partner not even looking good in that fight, arguably losing 2 of his last 3 fights. And Joshua, he's pretty much dispatched everyone with ease, aside from Vladimir Klitschko, the former long-reigning heavyweight champion. So, who do you think's gonna win? Just judging by the recent performances, and you see Joshua improving, and you see Parker, his performances are dwindling. So, I expect Joshua to dispatch Parker with ease. Not even Parker's team all seem all that confident. They really don't have any belief. They see that Parker's really not ready for this task, but how are they going to turn it down? How are they going to turn down a $10 million payday? The biggest payday they'll ever get. So they might as well take this fight and take the L and try to rebuild after they get their asses whooped by Anthony Joshua. So Povetkin, that mandatory is going to be due in 2018. The WBA is going to order it sometime this year, and it's a matter of when and where. Well, it's a matter of when, really. Joshua's going to fulfill the mandatory obligation. WBA mandatory is due. Joshua already took care of his IBF obligations. Now WBA is next. But Joshua is going to push for the Wilder unification first, since I don't see the Fury fight happening until at least 2019. Fury's promotional situation is in the air. Perhaps he may sign with Frank Warren, and if he does, that will postpone the fight a little bit, since there's a broadcasting issue on making a Fury-Joshua fight if Fury decides to sign with Frank Warren, and it looks like that's likely to happen. It just all points to an announcement of Frank Warren signing Tyson Fury. Of course, there's an issue with Fury's promotional situation. Where is Mick Hennessy still involved? Is there going to be litigation? So Joshua has to find other opportunities, other marketable opponents out there if Wilder is not going to come to his senses, and if Fury's unavailable. The pool of opponents is getting thin. It's the heavyweight division. It's not the deepest division. So sooner or later, Joshua's opponents are going to run dry. So he's going to have to find other suitable opponents out there. And Alexander Sasha Povetkin, he fits that bill. It's a big fight. It's a respectable fight for Joshua. This is a fight that will probably give him some props to some of the naysayers about him. I mean, Povetkin, he's very experienced. Only 1 defeat to Vladimir Klitschko. He pretty much has the best resume in the heavyweight division now that Vladimir is retired. Povetkin's got a solid list of wins under his belt. He's pretty much fought everybody. Has wins over Chris Bird, an undefeated Eddie Chambers when he was a promising prospect coming up in the rankings. Has knockout wins over Manuel Char, Carlos Takam, Mike Perez, not bad. Knocked out Maris Wach, rated contender. Made easy work of Wilder leftovers and Duopas in an impressive performance. Wasn't that impressive against Rudenko. And he's coming off a win over a Christian Hammer, contender for WBO. arguably lost to what's his name, Marco Huck, a while back, to a cruiserweight. All in all, he's had a strong run in the heavyweight division. Forgot to mention a win over Shagayev as well. So he's beaten the guys that have been at the top of the heavyweight division, that have been rated. He has fought Vladimir Klitschko. Didn't have a good performance in that fight. Sure, Klitschko was holding and hitting a lot and leaning on him, but Povetkin couldn't really do much in trying to close the distance or trying to be successful in trying to get inside on Klitschko's range. He just wasn't able to do it, just didn't have the ability to do it. So now he signed to fight Wilder. Wilder didn't have the balls to fight him. Was willing to fight Ortiz again, but never gave Povetkin his shot, even though he was cleared by the organization as well. So Povetkin may finally get his chance to redeem his career that has pretty much underachieved. He's got this, strong resume of wins over rated contenders and former champions, but he's never really officially won a legitimate world title, won a regular strap, and only had his one shot against Klitschko that he wasn't able to do much in offensively. So going into this fight, potential fight against Joshua, it's a respectable fight for Joshua. It will give him some much needed experience against another worthy opponent. I'm already looking past the Parker fight because that fight doesn't really do much for me. I know who's going to win. Povetkin is a more formidable challenge. He's really the number 2 heavyweight, really, if you look at it, based on resumes. There's Fury, lineal. There's Joshua, the current man in the division. And then there's Povetkin, the number 1 rated contender. Pretty much the number 1 guy in the division as a contender. And you got paper champion Joseph Parker, and you got a paper champion in Deontay Wilder. But both guys don't have resumes of a Sasha Povetkin. So Povetkin is the most formidable challenge in the heavyweight division. He deserves his shot at the title. Was robbed of that from Wilder and his team, jumping ship early, flying back to Alabama without confirmation from the BC. But now Povetkin gets to fight a more respectable, formidable champion instead of a protected, hyped champion in Wilder. And it's a good fight. But of course, I'm favoring Anthony Joshua if this fight takes place. And the only question is Joshua going to get any props for beating an old but still formidable Sasha Povetkin? And that will quiet some of the naysayers about Joshua. Is Joshua really going to get any props for beating these paper champs and an aging Povetkin? Let me know what y'all think. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.